I'm Dr. Divya. Today's topic is types of epidemics. So, three types of epidemics: monocyclic, polycyclic, polyetic. So, first of all, monocyclic disease. So, pathogen completes just one cycle, one season. Primary inoculum is the only inoculum available for entire season. No secondary inoculum and infection. In a monocyclic disease, that pathogen has low birth rate and death rate, low dispersal rate. Soil-borne diseases are typically monocyclic. For example, cotton wilt, tomato wilt. So amount of disease may slowly increases from year to year. Also known as simple interest disease. So graphical disease caused by monocyclic pathogen looks like a saturation curve. So in first, microsclerotia free in soil or within plant debris, and root exudes stimulate microsclerotia germination, then direct penetrations of root tips, colonization of root cortex, entry into xylem vessels, formation of conidia and systematic colonization of vascular system, and after that chlorosis and necrosis in wilting of foliage happened and colonization of sanctioning tissues. So that type of a development of a microscleration develop in dead tissues. So these are the example: fusarium wilt of tomato, smut of wheat, and ergot of bajra. Second one is polycyclic disease. So pathogen completes several infection cycle per season. Primary inoculum consists of sexual spores or sclerotia. Once after primary infection, large amount of asexual spores will be produced at each infection cycle, which can cause new infection cycle. In polycyclic disease, these are the primary inoculum and is required for primary infection, and secondary inoculum is required for a secondary infection in over seasoning stages. So pathogen has high birth rate and death rate, high dispersal rate. Uh, these are the more polycyclic disease, airborne disease. So typically polycyclic, for example, powdery mildew, wheat rust. So these are the also known as compound interest disease. Graphically, disease caused by polycyclic pathogen looks like a sigmoid curve. So these are the in primary infections, sporulation on emerging terminal, lateral and blossom bud tissues and historyum within the epidermal cell. And after that, that secondary infection happens, secondary blossom and fruit infections. So secondary leaf and shoot infections. So uh, these type of secondary infections of lateral, terminal and blossom bud secondary cycle may be repeated on late season growing. After that, the dormant season happened, infected terminal and lateral shoot and blossom buds. So this is the images showing the life cycle of Puccinia graminis triticide that cause wheat rust. These are the example of polycyclic paddy blast, late blight of potato, black stem rust of wheat. These are the example of polycyclic disease. This is the difference between monocyclic and polycyclic disease. And third one, like bimodal polycyclic disease. So if affects two different growth stages of the crop. For example, blossom and fruit infection of pear, blast of ragi, nursery and triggering. So, in the you earlier discussed about the monocyclic disease and polycyclic disease, and third one here we're discussing polyating disease. So, some pathogen takes several years to produce the inoculum. So, may no not cause in new infections in a year. So, amount of inoculum does not increase greatly within a year. So, inoculum may increase steadily from year to year and cause severe outbreaks, also known as a multi-year disease. It is a monocyclic disease over years. Pathogens survive on perennial hosts like trees. So first in a step, like infected beetles emerge and fly to healthy trees. Second, in the course of feeding, they infect them within the function, and the disease develop in the tree. So it may weaken the tree enough to allow the beetles to bore through the bark and lay eggs under it. So the larva develops under the bark, and in the functions produce fruiting bodies in the galleries they make in the polyatic disease. So, for example, these are the Dutch elm disease. So, multiple locations in the crown of a disease elm. So, if vector is bark elm beetle. These are the examples of polyatic disease, Dutch elm disease, pear decline, and citrus diastera. This is the conclusion. Thank you.